The Rugby World Cup kicks off today here in France. Les Bleus taking on three-time world champions New Zealand. The event, of course, dominating the front pages here. Deeptika Laurent is here with more. Take us through it, Deepti.
Yeah, Sharon, it's a dream match, France versus New Zealand in the opening game of this what will be a nearly 2-month-long World Cup. It is, of course, dominating the dailies everywhere. Let's start with L'Équipe, which is the French sports paper. All blue, it says on its headline, and as you can see there, even the masthead has been changed to blue in honor of Les Bleus and its captain Antoine Dupont, who you see here, eyeing, of course, their first World Cup title. They're among the favorites, but it's not just the French team's credibility on the line, L'Équipe says, but also France as a host nation, of course, in terms of various domains like security, how they handle the big crowds, the ability to host such a big event. This, of course, seen also as a litmus test just 10 months before the Paris 2024 Olympics. For Libération, it's not La vie en rose, but it's l'envie en bleu. It says the desire, of course, for Les Bleus to win this World Cup in front of a home crowd. Libé going with a play on words there. And Le Midi Libre, which is a local paper down south, really in the heart of French rugby, calls this a titanic clash between France and the All Blacks today.
Given the All Blacks' recent form, it could go either way, Deepti. What is the reaction then from the Kiwi press ahead of the big game?
Well, lots of focus, of course, on the All Blacks, not surprisingly, from the New Zealand Herald, a rather defiant headline here. Boots and all, we can expect that the All Blacks will be giving it their all. As you said, not having the best form recently, but anything can happen. This is Captain Sam Cane putting on his boots ahead of a photo call in Lyon this week. The paper does note that France and New Zealand are both tipped as favorites, among the favorites to win the tournament. The Sowetan, that's a South African paper, also focusing on this. Of course, South Africa are the current World Cup title holders. The paper says they'll be cheering on the Springboks ahead of its also titanic game against Scotland on Sunday. Azishe, it says on its front page, as slang in South African, meaning let it burn. It's sort of an expression of excitement. Let's go, let this start. And the British Eye on its sports page going with a French language headline, On y va. There is an asterisk there in case you don't speak French. Let's go, it says. Here we go. The paper certainly expressing this excitement after what seems also like an interminable build-up to this World Cup. It feels like we've been talking about it for a very, very long time, Sharon.
Let's finally hear this Friday, the opening match starting on Friday evening. On a much more sombre note, Deepti, you're moving now to South Korea, where teachers have been protesting this week over a series of teacher suicides, the latest suicide occurring, unfortunately, today.
That's right, Sharon. And what's also very shocking these are elementary school teachers. So we're dealing with parents of children who are between, the ages of 7 and 10, thereabouts. The Korea Times today reports that the latest an elementary school teacher died from an apparent suicide this Friday. She, like her colleagues, have been suffering a malicious child abuse complaints from parents. That's according to the police. The Guardian has a very in-depth article today in it on how South Korea's teachers are feeling abused, traumatized, and powerless. They've been protesting all week, essentially to call for better protection and better working conditions. Among their complaints, teachers say they received late-night calls from parents who accuse them of child abuse for disciplining students. In one case that's outlined by The Guardian, a teacher was accused of favoring students with disabilities after intervening to protect a hearing-impaired student from being bullied. All of this sort of came to a head in July when a 23-year-old elementary school teacher committed suicide. The Education Ministry, for its part, has taken some steps towards curbing the problem, for instance, prohibiting parents from directly contacting teachers and also recording all telephone correspondence between parents and teachers. It's also sort of coupled with a education system in South Korea that which has been well documented, is very competitive, very cutthroat, and parents often see success as the only way for their children to get high-paying, lucrative jobs. Sharon.
In the US, then, late-night talk show host Jimmy Fallon, he's been accused of fostering a toxic work environment. That's in a Rolling Stone exclusive. Talk to us about that, Deepti.
Well, it might come as a surprise. Jimmy Fallon, of course, has a reputation as being sort of a goofy, congenial, almost a sort of a frat boyish at times, very jovial and of undeniably charismatic on screen, especially with his guests. He's got this natural affinity. But behind the scenes, at least according to this Rolling Stone exclusive, according to 16 staffers, past and present, they've told Rolling Stone that he's also prone to erratic behavior, outbursts, fostering a tense and glum atmosphere. Some alleging they've been belittled and intimidated by bosses and by Fallon himself. In one case, for instance, he allegedly scolded one of his workers during an interview with Jerry Seinfeld, and allegedly Seinfeld had told Fallon to apologize to that person. The program also has churned through 9 showrunners in just about a decade, all of whom refused to give any kind of positive statement about Fallon in the wake of these allegations. He himself has also apologized for his behavior.
Speaking of badly behaved, then, let's end with P-gate. It's a scandal engulfing Belgium's justice minister.
Yeah, concretely, Belgium's Justice Minister Vincent van Quickenborne, a.k.a. Quickie is his nickname. Not sure if that bodes well for him. He turned 50 last month. To celebrate, he had a massive party. And some of his guests got very drunk and peed on the cop car that was parked outside his house to protect him, because he and his family have faced threats from drug dealers. The minister has apologized and said he was not aware of this bad behavior, but video footage shows him accompanying a guest at 4 in the morning, where he appears to simulate peeing on a cop car himself. He said it looks more like he was playing air guitar. Go figure. Anyway, the police are understandably furious. The minister apologized yesterday during a hearing. The Belgian Prime Minister, who was also at the party, but presumably not one of those 3 people who peed on the cop car, has refused calls for Quickenborne to resign. Anyhow, it seems like it's a party he's not likely going to forget anytime soon, and nor will Belgians, I think.
Or those officers who had to return to the car. Deepti, thank you so much for that. That is Deepti Laurent joining us there with our press review. Well, do stay with us.